Okay, remember what we're doing is we are using the law of sines, and in a situation where we have side-side angle, which is what we call the ambiguous case. Let's remember that the sine always has to have a range between -1 and 1. The sine function is positive, or if the sine function is positive, then the angle would lie in quadrants 1 or 2. To find any other possible angle, we subtract the angle we get when we use the law of sines. We subtract that from 180. That lets us know if there's another possibility. And then we also have to check and see, is the sum of the angles, the angle that we were given and the angle that we find, is that less than 180 degrees? If so, then there is room for a third angle, and if not, there is not room for a third angle. And also remember that no triangle can have two obtuse angles. So let's do question number 8. So the first thing we want to do is remember that across from angle B is going to be side AC. We know it's across from angle B because it doesn't have the B in the side length. The other way you could do it is simply to draw a quick triangle, label your sides. Here's B, here's A, and here's C. And of course you could label them in whatever way you want. Angle B is the angle that we're given, so we're given this one. Then we're given side AC, and so you can see that that is the side across from angle B. And then we're also given side AB. And so that is the angle, or sorry, that is the side that's across from angle C, which it turns out is the angle we want to find. Now, because we're looking for an angle measure, we use the law of sines such that the sine of the angle is in the numerator. So in other words, what we're looking for here is the sine of angle B over side AC is equal to the sine of angle C over side AB. So note that the side, or the angle that I'm looking for, is over the side opposite, so that's the side that doesn't have that angle name in the name of the side, right? Okay, so let's fill in the information we were given. We are given B, so that's 37 degrees. So what we have is the sine of 37 degrees over the side length AC, that's our 29. This is equal to the sine of angle C, that's what I'm looking for. So I'm going to leave the sine of angle C in the numerator over side AB, that's my 47. So when I have this situation here, I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 47. So what I now have is that the sine of 47 degrees, sorry, completely messed that part up, didn't I? I think you guys noticed that. I hope you noticed that, right? This really should just be 47 times the sine of 37 degrees divided by 29. This is equal to the sine of angle C. Now when I'm looking for an angle measure, then what I'm looking for, or what I need to use, is the inverse ratio, right? But remember up here at the top we said that the sine function always has a range between -1 and 1. So the first thing we're going to do is grab our calculator, and in your calculator you're going to type 47 times the sine of 37 degrees divided by 9. So let's remember what that looks like. I'm going to pull in my calculator here. Right? And so you have just enough that you can see what I'm doing. So it's 47 times the sine of 37 degrees. Remember, make sure your calculator's in degree mode. Also remember to close the parenthesis after the 37. And now we're going to divide that by 29. So this number, 0.9753, this is between -1 and 1, right? It's less than 1. So we can find at least one angle measure that fits in this triangle. So we go back to our calculator, we're going to go back now and say that we want to find the inverse sine, right? So the sine inverse, the inverse sine of this whole thing, right? Or we can take this out, that decimal that we had, we can take it out 4 decimal places. So I had 0.9754, right? Now, personally, I don't want to use this number. I want to use the exact value. And this is equal to C. So I want to show you how to do that. I'm going to pull this calculator back in. And the first thing I want you to note is that I have the answer for that middle part, right? The 47 sine 37 divided by 29. I have that answer here already. So what I want to do is find the inverse sine of this answer. So the easy way to do that, there are 2 ways. One, you can use the stow feature of your calculator. There's an even easier way. So we're going to do that first. So we're going to use the inverse sine. So second sine, that's the inverse sine. And what we want is the inverse sine of the equation or the expression we had just used. So to do that, we can just insert the last answer that we had. So again, we're going to use the second button. And then we're going to use the negative button. If you notice right above the negative button in your calculator, you have that answer, ANS. So that's what we're going to use. That's going to take your 0.9753553.823 and put this in here. This is what we're looking for. We click enter, and this gives us the most exact value for our angle. So then what we know is that our angle is approximately 77.3 degrees. So C is approximately 77.3 degrees. So several things we have to check. There's another possibility for C, so we call that C prime. And to find C prime, it's going to be 180 minus 77.3. So pull that calculator back up. We type in our 180 minus, and again, you could use that exact value that we just found, or we can just type in our 77.3. Okay, so that's approximately 102.7. Now we have to check both C and C prime. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the 37 degrees that we were given. We're going to add that to the 77.3 degrees that we found first. And we want to know, is this number less than 180? If it is less than 180, then 77.3 is an angle measure that we can use. So let's check that, right? So 37 plus 77.3, right? That's 114.3. That is less than 180. So that works. We are able to have this answer. So then the next one we check is 37 plus 102.7, oops, 102.7, is that less than 180, right? If it is, then we can use it. And I know you can add that in your head, right? Whoops. We can all add that in our head, but let's just double check it on the calculator. So 37 plus 102.7, right? That's 139.7. That is less than 180. So it turns out then that there are 2 possible triangles that we could create. One would be an acute triangle and the other one would be an obtuse triangle. So as we said before, at the very beginning of this section here, right? When finding angles, it's possible to have one solution, it's possible to have two solutions, or it's possible to have no solutions. And this is called the ambiguous case. Okay, let's look at one more. Let's look at question number 9. In question number 9, we are given the measure of angle C. We are given side lengths AB and AC, and we're asked to find the measure of angle B. So again, let's go ahead and just sketch a quick little triangle. Label our sides. Angle C, this is 75 degrees. So I'll put that in there. Side AB is 28. That's the side opposite angle C. And side AC is 19. That's the side opposite angle B. So the first thing we want to write is, what is our equation, right? What is this proportion that we're going to solve? So we know that the sine of 75 degrees over the length of the side opposite, so over the 28, this has to be equal to the sine of angle B, the one that we're trying to find, over the length of the side opposite angle B. That's our 19. Okay, so when we multiply both sides by 19 in order to isolate the sine of angle B, this is equal to 19 times the sine of 75 degrees divided by 28. So let's pull up our calculator. Sorry, I keep pushing the wrong button on the calculator. All right, so pull up the calculator and we're going to type in our 19 times the sine of 75 degrees. Don't forget to close that parenthesis, divided by 28. And this number is between -1 and +1, so we know that we can have at least one angle here. So when we do this, then we want to find the inverse sine of this whole thing. So let me pull the calculator back up, right? So of 0.6554, 0.6554, right? This is equal to the measure of angle B, and really it's approximately. So I'll pull up that calculator again. So the inverse sine, we're going to use the answer that we just got. So the answer, enter. So what we find is that this angle is approximately 41 degrees. The 5 would round the 9 up, so it's approximately 41 degrees. So angle B is approximately 41 degrees. That means B prime, that other possible angle, is approximately 180 minus 41, or 139 degrees, right? 180 minus 41, right? So approximately 139 degrees. So again, we have to check and see. So is 75 plus 41, that's less than 180. So we know that we can have 41 degrees. Then we check, what about 75 plus 139 degrees, right? Is that less? So 75 plus the answer that I just had, 139, that's 240 degrees. That's greater than 180 degrees. So this is definitely not an answer. There's only one solution. Okay, I'm going to stop this video. I'm going to do another video for the last 3 questions, just so you have another option to look. But let me know if you have any questions at all.